Mineral resources. The Philippine Mineral Resources accounts. Minerals are natural substances, usually comprising inorganic element or compound, having an orderly internal structure and characteristics, chemical composition, crystal form, and physical properties. Namria Dinner, 1991. Any concentration of these minerals, with a potential economic value that can be extracted at a profit, is considered a mineral resource. Despite its small area, the Philippines is one of the world's richly endowed countries in terms of mineral resources. In 1994, the estimated levels of metallic and nonmetallic mineral reserves stood at 7 billion metric tons and 50 billion metric tons, respectively. Copper accounted for the bulk of metallic mineral resources of about 72%, while nickel's share was estimated at 16%, Figure 1. Among the nonmetallic minerals, limestone and marble accounted for about 39 and 29%, respectively, Figure 2. In terms of chromite resources, the Philippines is also one of the most endowed countries. In fact, the country's refractory chromite resource in Zambales is considered one of the world's largest. The mining industry plays a very important role in the country's economic development. For one, the industry provides employment opportunities to a significant portion of the population, directly and indirectly. The launching of a mining project spurs local and regional economic development as mining firms invest in road infrastructure, utilities, and other facilities within the mine site. Mining, likewise, contributes to the country's foreign exchange earnings through exports. Furthermore, the industry provides additional revenues for the government through taxes and fees paid on mining and other related activities. The mining activities involve operations that have a significant impact on the environment. In most facets of the mining activities, there is always the potential for environmental and ecological problems, from the construction of mining facilities, the extraction of ore, to the processing of minerals. Mineral resources are non-renewable. Once extracted, the ore is gone and will take a very long time to replenish. Mining activity, therefore, is faced with a sustainability issue. Serious implications may arise if this issue is not properly addressed. While the construction of the asset account for the other natural resources is undoubtedly important, it is more crucial for the minerals because of the exhaustibility of these resources. Gold. At the beginning of 1988, gold reserves were estimated at 101.6 million metric tons, mount, equivalent to about 240 mount of gold metal. Between 1988 and 1994, a total of 27.7 million mount of gold ore, containing about 36 mount of metal, was extracted. On average, this is equivalent to an annual extraction of 3.9 million mount of gold ore. However, actual annual data show that the level of ore extraction dropped by a hefty 42.9% in 1990 and 25.7% in 1993, Figure 1. The slight increase in the world metal price of gold in 1990 failed to raise the country's production. During this year, 3 major gold mines temporarily ceased operation, evidence of the then problems that besieged the domestic mining industry. Copper. The reported stock of copper in ore form increased from 4,106 million mount in 1988 to 4,597 million mount in 1994, Figure 2. However, copper reserves suffered a setback in 1990, when they declined by 7.2% from the previous year's level before resuming their increasing trend. From 1988 to 1994, the extraction of copper ore registered a decreasing trend, with an annual average decline of 12.1%. The same trend was exhibited by the metal content, which declined from 277,746 mount in 1988 to 130,910 mount in 1994. Copper mining companies slowed down in their production as lower prices of copper metal in the world market discouraged further expansion of activities. Other factors which contributed to the low extraction for the years concerned included power shortages, closure of the Mar Copper Mining Corporation in the second half of 1991, the eruption of Mount Pinatubo, and the unusually heavy rainfall. During the 7-year period, a total of 346 million mount of ore was extracted, with a metal content of 1.3 million mount. Chromite. From 1988 to 1990, on average, most of the chromite-producing companies experienced a relative boom, as reflected by the increases in their extraction. For the said period, the total chromite ore extraction grew at an annual average of 30.1%, despite the earthquake that jolted Luzon Island in July 1990. However, starting in 1991, a downtrend was experienced as a result of the volcanic eruption. This catastrophe deluged service roads with mudflows, thus affecting the transport of one of the biggest chromite producers in that location. Power shortage and other geological factors affected the operations of most chromite mining companies in the succeeding years. As a result of reduced extraction and positive other accumulation, the stock of total chromite ore reserves registered an annual average growth of 1.5% for the period 1988 to 1994. The corresponding metal content posted an average annual growth of 0.4% for the same period. In contrast with the physical asset accounts for which estimates were undertaken by type of chromite, the monetary asset account for chromite was estimated only on an aggregate basis. Nickel. Beginning in 1991, the stock of ore reserves started to decline. In 1993, the nickel metal production tremendously dropped. The effect of the slowdown in the international demand for nickel, coupled with increased production in the earlier years, which dampened the market price of nickel metal. Iron. Iron ore, one of the Philippines' largest mineral deposits, is not being extracted at present. This was due to the higher cost of production, making the local prices of iron not competitive to world prices. However, exploration for possible mining sites is still being done. In 1989, there was an addition of 10.1 million mount in total reserves. Several mining areas explored in 1992 were found positive with iron, resulting in a huge increase in ore reserves of 298.6 million mount, with a metal content of 124.0 million mount. Manganese. During the period 1988 to 1994, manganese reserves in ore form registered an annual average growth of 2.7%, from 1.4 million mount in 1988 to 1.6 million mount in 1994. The extraction of manganese ore exhibited fluctuations for the years in review. In 1992, exploration for more possible mining sites in several areas was conducted. This resulted in an increase of ore reserves by 203,014 mount, with a metal content of 87,843 mount at the end of the year, gross of extraction. Country's nickel, chromite, and gold reserves increased from 2013 to 2018. Copper reserves remained on the same level. Reference number 2020 to 212. Release date Thursday, August 20, 2020. Asset accounts for mineral resources. Nickel. The total nickel reserves in the Philippines have increased by 1.5% from 2.02 billion metric tons, mount, in 2013 to 2.05 billion mount in 2018. This increase is mainly attributed to reappraisals recorded during the period, with a net total of more than 158 million mount, Table 1.1 and Figure 1.1. Meanwhile, Class A reserves, or the portion of the total reserves which is commercially recoverable, saw a decrease from 1.03 billion mount in 2013 to 0.95 billion mount in 2018. Table 1.2 and Figure 1.1. Nickel extraction was stable during the period, ranging from 25 to 35 million mount, with the highest recorded in 2014. Table 1.2 and Figure 1.2. Gold. The total gold reserves in the Philippines have increased by 0.8% from 4.85 million kilograms kg in 2013 to 4.89 million kilogram in 2018. This increase is mainly attributed to reappraisals recorded during the period, with a net total of more than 0.13 million kilogram, Table 2.1 and Figure 2.1. On the other hand, Class A reserves increased by 19.5% from 0.543 million kilogram in 2013 to 0.649 million kilogram in 2018. This is due to a combined effect of reappraisals and reclassifications, with a net total of 0.13 million kilogram and 0.06 million kilogram, respectively, Table 2.2 and Figure 2.1. Gold extraction ranges from 0.01 to 0.02 million kilogram, with the highest recorded in 2017, Table 2.1 and Figure 2.2. Copper. From 2013 to 2018, total copper reserves in the country has remained on the same level, which is around 1.14 billion mount. This is mainly attributed to the non-activity of copper reserves, that is, an average of about 83.8% of the reserves are not yet being extracted. Table 3.5. Meanwhile, Class A reserves have largely increased, from 4.25 million mount in 2013 to 135.75 million mount in 2018, due to a reclassification, Table 3.2 and Figure 3.1. On the other hand, copper extraction declined throughout the 6-year period, with the lowest recorded in 2017, Table 3.2 and Figure 3.2. Chromite. The total chromite reserves in the Philippines have increased by 11.2% from 40.34 million mount in 2013 to 44.86 million mount in 2018 due to reappraisals. Class A chromite reserves have decreased by 61.3% from 8.58 million mount in 2013 to 3.32 million mount in 2018, mainly due to reclassifications, Table 4.2 and Figure 4.1. Moreover, the decrease in Class A reserves is attributed to the extraction of chromite. The largest extraction was recorded in 2014 at 47.06 thousand mount, while the lowest was registered in 2015, 15.50 thousand mount, Table 4.1 and Figure 4.2. Based on the System of Environmental Economic Accounting, SEEA, 2012 Central Framework, the Mineral Accounts of the Philippines aims to provide information on the stocks and changes in stocks of the 4 metallic mineral reserves. These accounts allow for the monitoring of the sustainability of the extraction of these valuable yet depletable natural assets.